Sorry, I got interrupted. Let this be a warning to you that this is something that happens when people, and it naturally happens. It naturally gets out of control. And this is one of the reasons why I believe that I am the Messiah. Meaning, like, and I, not saying it in an arrogant way or me trying to promote myself as a big headed person. That's not the issue. But I'm saying is I'm somebody who understands human nature and I understand how to tackle the problems at the root of it. See, a lot of times, people will sit there and talk about, especially a lot of what they call feel good type motivational speakers. And no, I am not in any way criticizing them, okay? Because, I think that they're trying to do a good job. But the thing is, you can sit here and talk about all the kind of motivation you want to, but if there is a system in place, you are going to be blocked and you're going to hit that wall every single time. And what I'm referring to is the insidious crime of human trafficking. Okay, that needs to get cleaned up. You know what I mean? And I do believe that there's efforts of things getting cleaned up right now, and that makes me extremely happy that people, could have a chance to not have to have their lives be, sucked up by, a system that to me is just absolutely outright demonic. Okay. Uh, yeah, I do get the feeling that it would be a good idea for me to advertise, just as I mentioned it, talking about the human trafficking issue, letting people be aware of it, and then, letting people know about the kind of services I provide. Like I had mentioned before, it is very difficult to reach employers. I had mentioned the fact that we have issues like Indeed.com, which I think a lot of people want to avoid, being reminded that they're on some sort of blacklist that is meant to kill them. This is one of the reasons why I myself struggle to go on websites like Indeed.com. And I do understand that Indeed.com is making efforts to be more inclusive, okay? Because personality types is really the deep down foundation of where people are going to be happy when it comes to being placed in their job. So I really do admire and respect the fact that they've made this video. I mean, they're little presentations, but at the same time, there are a lot of people. Okay, I got it in the intuitive message that a lot of people hate looking for work because they have to look at those fake ads. Okay, and those fake ads are very triggering. Okay, especially when that is in your location and you know that you're a victim of human trafficking, and its chances are that is meant just for you to see. Okay, so this is why I'm talking about Indeed.com clearing up the genocide program that they're allowing to uh, uh, propagate. Okay, if you don't remove it, then you're propagating it. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Okay, so I think that Indeed.com, would be better off if they took some sort of active measure to verify whether these jobs are legitimate and that they really should be here. Okay, because that would clean up a lot of it. Now, like I said, maybe Indeed.com might even want to change the face of how people look for work. I have my own ideas. I'm sitting here I'm open to the idea of, pitching my idea to maybe certain, what do you call it, software companies, whatever, to get this change going, because it needs to change. Okay, people should not just be going into jobs willy-nilly. Okay, this is the difference between a job and a career. Okay, the difference between a job and a career is something that a career is something that you feel that you want to throw yourself into. There are people who have spent years. For example, okay, I personally do not believe that college is something that really equips people. That we have seen this, okay? We have seen this demonstrated. Everybody has saw this demonstrated. People have talked about me being a targeted individual, and these people who were badgering me and trying to make me feel bad after bullying me out of the school system and wanted to throw this shit in my face, right? Okay, so this all got proved. Everything was proven, okay, that this is not true. Okay, if we can convince lawyers to, allow religion to, cloud their vision as to what they're supposed to stand for, if law enforcement can be encouraged to participate in human trafficking, then they do not have an understanding of the laws, nor do they have any idea of how to enforce them. Okay, so this was proven. Okay, I am an autodidact. Yes, I am. Okay, and I am more qualified to talk about certain issues than many people. And this proves it. This is not in me in any way bragging, but I am basically trying to say that I do believe that I'm somebody who can contribute to, making changes in the educational system, and this is what I'm trying to do. Okay, so what else do I want to talk about? Yes, now when it comes to, I do believe that the Bakersfield Police Department is 100% aware of what happened with Rex Laverne. This human trafficking issue was out in the open for all to see, and the Bakersfield Police Department agrees that this was illegal. This, of course, is going to be considered a cover up. I do not believe that it has been, publicized on any news channels or anything like that. It's swept under the carpet. Okay, but it's something that can be discussed. Okay, so, the thing is, really, it should have been on the news. Okay, you know why? Because it would have brought me healing. It would have brought me incredible healing. You know what I mean? And see, I get tired of people showing allegiance to what I consider to be the evil. Okay, so I have to take it upon myself to speak up for my own mental well being. And see, this is where I feel as though this, when people do this sort of stuff or try to sweep it under the carpet, this makes me feel like I will never really fully trust the people that think that that's okay. You know why? Because it's like, let me protect my self interest. And once again, I'm the one who eats it. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm tired of eating it. See, this whole thing was so evasive and so dirty and so vile and so demonic and so, just because of the fact that, I'm supposed to sit here and I'm never supposed to, be able to tell my son, right? Or have an open conversation about my own bloodline. You know what I mean? Because, they want to make it so that he's supposed to have allegiance to somebody else. See, this is bullshit. It's bullshit. And see, this is why this is a corrupt operation. It's corrupt. Okay, so I have to take it upon myself to talk about human trafficking and talk about what happened to me in this community. Meanwhile, it was wrong for these people to not have put this on the news. It was wrong. But see, I understand how many people were involved in it. Most of the people in the community look at Rex Laverne as well as his family. They know that he's dead and they do not care. Also, the LSD church, I got the confirmation that the LSD church was indeed, working with other churches throughout the years. I wanted to make sure before I said that. And I also wanted to find, hard evidence and proof. But unfortunately, like I said, this proves that this was a covert operation. And it has always been originated as a covert operation. Meaning like, this is our secret. This is how we get things done. This is how we can, enact our experiments and have our little fun, blah, 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 blah. This is all of their doing. Okay, and they have ruined so many people's lives. They have broken so many people's hearts. They have, literally like caused, I would say, the corrupt actions. I'm not saying the corrupt churches or maybe even the people. I'm saying their desire for world domination was actually the work of the devil. That is the work of the devil. And I'm sure, and I know that the church members of today, okay, the ones who are operating and things behind the scenes, they know it too. They know it too. So I expect changes on the earth. I expect things to get better. Like I said, the Bakersfield Police Department are involved with the investigation of human trafficking. Okay, and it needs to continuously be this way. As a matter of fact, I think Bakersfield Police Department should have a specific division just for human trafficking. Just for human trafficking, to report human trafficking. As a matter of fact, I think every community in California should have their own division of human trafficking. You know what I mean? And, have people be able to report these things and sometimes report them anonymously, okay? Because we understand, I know that Rex Laverne probably, through a hissy fit, probably threatened people and all kinds of stuff, in order to keep the operation, going. And so, when people get threatened, anytime somebody threatens you, you know that that's illegal, okay? And so, but it makes people think, okay, how do I report this? How do I get help, okay? There should be some way that you can write to these departments or go into the police department and slip in a note or something to where you can alert these people as to what's going on so that they can carry out their proper investigations. Okay, I understand how it works, okay, because I know that Rex Laverne was, somebody who was obsessed with, and I noticed this, okay, before I realized that he was the main perp, I just noticed that, he was always talking about how he wants to track people on GPS. And don't get me wrong, okay, GPS and stuff like that could be a great tool, especially if you need to identify who is wasting your money out there on the field, whatever, there could be a car parked for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours not doing anything, right? And it's important that people know these things. But I also, when he said that, I kept thinking, that seems suspicious. He seems like he likes control. Like he wants to know every little thing about people. So yeah, I'm just noticing these sort of things. But I do understand that he used religion. Okay, he used religion. See, and everybody was doing this for their own, entertainment or whatever. We have the original churches that it started off with one church, okay, during it, and then it starts spreading, okay, and then they, collaborated with Nazis, and then they get all this other stuff, kind of crazy stuff, and guess what? They started to feel like they were invincible. They started to feel like they were invincible. You know what I mean? And then we have people like Rex Laverne, who's a member of these organizations, and somebody who is obsessed and who also dealt with his low self-esteem is what drove him to doing the stuff that he did. And see, this is one of the reasons why I'm saying, do not let yourself fall into having that kind of self-esteem. You know what I mean? Because when you have low self-esteem, you are going to be a threat to so many people as well as yourself. We all know that he's dead, right? So anyway, that's pretty much all I want to say. I'm just right now, I'm going to wait till, I have something a little, more stable. I will say I did talk about me, modifying my mood through food and stuff. And, I notice when I wake up in the morning, because I'm dealing with trauma and depression and everything, there's times where, I have to wait to get, the proper focus. And so, and I may not be hungry at a certain time. So I kind of pick up tasks, that I feel like I can handle, and a lot of this, I will say it is. Okay, not a lot, all of it. All of these trauma issues and the mental depression and all of this is directly related to me being a victim of human trafficking. You know what I mean? And it's all evil. All of it. You know what I mean? So I don't care about Rex. I don't believe that he deserves a spot in the cemetery. I don't, like I said, I thought about this story about, people who were being removed from society. Like he literally should be removed with some sort of hazardous waste. People like him do not deserve to walk on this face of this earth. He had a serious problem, a compulsive disorder, religious delusions. He had a lot of it. And so I talk a lot about mental illness. I talk a lot about mental illness because a lot of people are mentally ill, and they're mentally ill from different combinations of things, genetics, environment, traumas that they experience themselves, delusions, you know what I mean? Which is a kind of a combination between them hoping things will get better and then also, grasping on their codependency of maybe a belief system, and they hang on it just festers and festers. And there's so many other weak, unfulfilled people that are willing to listen to these sort of people. Okay, so obviously, where does the healing really start? It starts with each individual person. And I'm trying to tell people what it is that they need in order to reach their goals and stop being dissatisfied. Okay, we talk a lot, like I said, a lot of people, they talk about, go out there and accomplish your goals, focus on your goals. And I'm sure many people do start off with their focus, but then we have people who feel like failures, who always want to be an obstacle to people who are trying to make better lives for themselves. Whether that be a weird, crooked employer that wants to sit here and initiate illegal practices so that they can reduce the quality of your life, or it could come to you in the form of a codependent friend who feels like they want to threaten your lifestyle or your security every time that they're around them. They're gossiping about you behind your back. I'm saying is, people need to take control of their lives, and how to take control of their lives is to identify who is toxic, who they bring into their personal space, creating boundaries, and also doing things to make themselves feel good. That's the best suit of armor that you can have, okay? And then, of course, while you step out into the real world and deal with other people and their mental illness, you understand that you're protecting yourself with some sort of shield. You know what I mean? You can't reduce all of the craziness that goes on there, but you have a better shot when you know what to look for and you know how to handle it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I will be back with another video sometime later. I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I make 2 projects and split them into one? You know what I mean? So that's my biggest issue today. I'll be back some other time. Take care. Bye-bye.